Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. This is episode 343 of the Ping Pong Flix Show, and let's get into it. There are just a couple minor DC updates, and the first one being all about Joker. This is coming from IndieWire. Their article says, superhero films aren't the kind of movies one necessarily associates with major international film festivals, but that could soon change thanks to Warner Brothers' upcoming fall tentpole Joker. A new report from Deadline says that Joaquin Phoenix starring comic book drama could be heading to the Venice Film Festival, the event most associated with the kickoff to the fall awards seasons. Sources tell Deadline Joker is sitting out Comic-Con, which we already know, in favor of a fall springboard, which might just be Venice. Warner Brothers has often used the Venice Film Festival to launch its Oscar contenders. Last year, the studio brought Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper to the Lido for the headline-making world premiere of A Star is Born. The music drama was a big hit at the festival and went on to earn 8 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress. So the studios had a similar success world premiering Alfonso Cuarón's Gravity in the 2013 festival as well. So it looks like, because Phoenix is also a staple of the Venice Film Festival, having mostly recently attended in 2018 for the world premiere of Jacques Audiard's The Sisters Brothers, he won the festival's Best Actor Volpe Cup in 2012 for his leading turn in Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master. So with the Venice Film Festival launch for Joker, Warner Brothers could be positioning Phoenix's performance as the infamous Batman villain for awards consideration. It's not a stretch given Phoenix is a 3-time Oscar nominee and one of the most respected actors of his generation. The role is also already an Oscar-winning one thanks to Heath Ledger's turn as the Joker in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. Superhero films broke through with the Academy in a big way earlier this year thanks to Black Panther, which became the first comic book movie nominated for Best Picture. Black Panther, nominated for 7 Oscars, won 3 prizes. Joker stars Phoenix in an origin story of the Batman villain. The Hangover and War Dogs director Todd Phillips directed the movie, which co-stars Robert De Niro, Zazie Beetz, Francis Conroy, and Brian Tyree Henry. Phillips intended for the film to resemble the gritty tone of Martin Scorsese's Mean Streets and Taxi Driver. Warner Brothers is releasing Joker in theaters nationwide October 4th. The studio also has the awards contender The Goldfinch arriving in theaters this fall. IndieWire has reached out to Warner Brothers for further comment. So, yes, wow. So this has turned into a non-comic book film, seriously. And from a lot of things have said, Joker seems to be very positive. I think they're very confident in this movie actually winning awards. And that's probably why they let him make it. And that's probably why Joaquin Phoenix, who very much chooses the movies, he doesn't just take any movie. He has to actually like it. And from the teaser we've seen, it looks very different from anything we've ever seen in terms of a superhero comic book movie, which makes it not a superhero comic book movie, just using aspects of the stories, the characters from the comic books, but making their own kind of solo single story here, a character study of the Joker. Now, whether he will be able to be as great as the great Heath Ledger remains to be seen, but it is interesting what they're positioning this movie. They call it a tentpole. I wouldn't call it a tentpole, but it is an interesting movie to be kind of a genre film, a drama film. It may even look like a thriller and a character study, an art film and an independent film, and it has all those genres. all mixed up in together, and also being an award contender. What is this movie, right? I mean, like, I am actually quite very intrigued. As I've always said before, every little bit that comes out of this intrigues me more. Seeing how this R-rated Joker solo film, with some aspects of the comics in there, being in such different genres, really just mixing it all up together, or taking part, or at least taking part in all those different genres. It's kind of like, it's a little bit for everybody except the children. It's not a family movie, but it's going to be for these other genres. And having it, having it being that great in order to win or be a contender for film festivals and Oscar awards and award-winning, categories. That's amazing. They really got something here. And that's probably why it's not even related to the rest of the DCEU. They saw a good story. Todd Phillips looked at it. Joaquin Phoenix looked at it. They did it together. They got Robert De Niro involved in it. And they're like, well, you know what? We can't change it to connect to anything. This has got to be like this. And then it doesn't matter if it's not connected to anything. We're just going to make this because it's such a good story. It's such a welcoming, a fresh, welcoming story for having a villain be the lead in this story, a character study in this sense, and actually just running with it. So I got to say, hey, wherever movie this regime came from, whether it be Jeff Johns, John Byrne, Toby Emmerich, or whatever, or this is just a Walter Hamada thing, bravo. I mean, if this is anything like they say it's going to be, I think it's going to be pretty fantastic. And it's just great to see a Warner Brothers movie, director-driven movie, in the theaters without having to worry about, can we be the next Marvel movie, Forget that. Just make your stuff. Let the directors make their thing. And it seems like this is one of those movies that we can be pretty excited about. The next thing, which is also coming out of the Walter Hamada camp, I'd like to say, is Birds of Prey. And that is also an interesting, even though it feels like, I think this is more a DCEU film, more connectivity to it because of Margot Robbie reprising her role as Harley Quinn, and what we can tell by what appears to be a Jared Leto type Joker in the movie, at least behind the scenes. Whether that gets cut out of the movie or not, we'll know. But after Wonder Woman, this is coming from Luis Fernando. After the Wonder Woman 84 positive reactions, it's Birds of Prey test now getting all the praises. Every role seems to be excellent, not being so attached to the comics as their strength. Even the villain is said one of the best comic book movie villains ever. What a 2020 for DCU and female-led movies. Daniel Rickman also says, I hear Black Mask in Birds of Prey is a great, great villain, the best in the DCEU so far, and one of the best villains in a superhero movie ever. So that's good. So that's what's coming out. Apparently, I had a test screening, very positive buzz here, and I would like to take that lightly because we've seen positive buzz on Twitter before, and then it comes out, it's like really divisive, right? But although it really doesn't matter what they think, it matters what you think. But we've seen this before, and for people who really want to get into that, just like, I want to know what the reviewers think. Well, right now it's seemingly positive buzz, but we'll see. Not everybody talked about it, and it's interesting that they could talk about it. Is there no real NDA? I guess it's not really. They're not really talking about the plot, and they're just talking about the characters in general. So it looks like, and seeing this movie has a ton of characters, right? Hopefully it really works, and it's getting good praise apparently, and I think even one other person said that, or was it Daniel Rickman that said that Black Canary is a very great character as well. And I'm kind of, I've always been more excited about Birds of Prey than the Joker film. But after the teaser of the Joker film, I got really intrigued. After the teaser of the Birds of Prey, I was like really in it because I like the look. It really looks like one of those really artistic independent films, like Nicholas Winding Refn. That type of movie, I really like that type of. It's like Drive, right? Only God Forgives, and the Neon Demon, those types of movies. And Kathy Ann, I still haven't seen her one independent film that she made. But the trailer for that movie that she made has all the great, like, it's got color. It's got the color in a good way, like a retro way, like a Blade Runner like way, if you know what I mean. So I like that, and I see that colors here, and I'm really looking forward to the actual trailer to see the plot. Like an actual story trailer. That teaser is still good, and I like the music that was played in there, the little flashes of video. It just speaks to me, and hearing that it's getting praises now is a good thing, and I really look forward to it. The one thing that will probably detract a lot of people who are into the comics, possibly, is that they're saying he's not being so attached to the comics as a strength. I have many friends who probably will have problems with that, but they've had problems with the DCU like forever. Even the Aquaman movie, or even Shazam, like a certain aspect of the costume just ruins it for them and things like that. And so I don't really partake in that too much. I'd say if it's a good story, I don't care if they take elements of the comics, that's fine, as long as the story is good, as long as the characters are good, as long as the movie is great. And me being a visual person, the visual needs to be great, right? It has to be different. It can't have the same look all the time. And so I really want to see different types of looks and stories within the DCEU with Warner Brothers, because that means you're tapping into the directors. There's not some person in a giant background saying that every movie's got to look like this, because we got that. That's the that's the MCU. You got 24? I don't know how many movies now. Those movies have so much. There's a lot there, but they all look alike except for maybe Ragnarok, right? That's actually the only time, if I want to say, that they tried to do something really truly different, and they were trying to go that retro, Flash Gordon type route. But for the most part, everything just pretty much looked the same, and then the action started to look the same and stuff. But I like that Warner Brothers is letting the people make directors make their films the way they want, creating their stories, and it looks like there's not much, or if at all, any corporate guy trying to change things up altogether, like what happened with Justice League. And so, and Margot Robbie, her company seems to be very protective. And that's what we need. And maybe that's what they meant by strong producers that can protect the directors from getting those sharks up there, those executives getting their grubby little hands and mixing it up into some milky grossness, And so I think this is a good thing. And I think that it'll show after a while that, hey, we don't really need a DCEU that's like the MCU. We don't need to have that. We don't need to be all look alike. Like if Zack Snyder ever wanted to come back in, right? If once it's not so toxic, the company will actually let him do what he wants, and he can make those tentpole films like Patty Jenkins is making Wonder Woman 1984. If they allow him, and if he wants to. If he doesn't want to, then no, whatever. But if he truly wants to, then all his films will look alike because he made that arc. He's making that arc himself, and so those should look alike because it's his style. But when it comes to another movie like Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 1984, Shazam, and it's a different directors, those directors deserve to be able to show their style, their art into those films. Why not? We're championing Zack Snyder to show his style of art, his movies. That equates to us championing these other directors to be able to show their style, their art, right? And I truly believe that. That's why I look forward to Joker. I look forward to Birds of Prey. I may not be like excited because my excitement is really with certain characters in the DC universe, like, well, I don't know, Superman. More Superman than Batman. Mostly Superman, I'm sorry. But that excites me a lot. But I am excited to see what they can do with the DC characters that I know very well, and so that's why Birds of Prey is a very good time to see other directors shine, them evolving, them actually reaching out and doing all these other films, all these utilizing characters that we've never seen before. They don't just only do Batman, right? They don't just fall back to the things that make money all the time. They know for sure. They're reaching out. They're trying, like, well, what about these? And yeah, it's Batman characters. Harley Quinn. Sure, they use Harley Quinn, but they're tapping into, and they're just like, let's introduce these other characters. Finally, a Huntress, a Black Canary now. I'm glad they're doing that. And I'm glad that they're are in a safe way. The budget's low, but you know what? These characters don't need a big budget anyway. I don't know how they're going to handle Black Canary's voice thing, if she's even going to have that that power, but we'll see. I mean, and maybe that's why it's not being so attached to the comics, but we'll see. It may not have to. It may work however the way it works. And so excited to see what comes of that. And it's interesting that it says, what a 2020 for DCEU and female-led movies. Not going into anything about... I mean, I'm excited that they're making these movies. I still want my Superman. But apparently they're still going to do Supergirl. And this is also a rumor. And this is coming from We Got This Covered. I know I mispronounced on the other videos, We Got Discovered. I understand. It's We Got This Covered. So We Got This Covered is saying this, that Supergirl movie it will tell Kara's origin story and have a female director. Warner Brothers has had much success so far with female-led DC movies. Wonder Woman and the positive buzz surrounding both Wonder Woman 84 and Birds of Prey. So it's no surprise that the studio has plans for further superheroine flicks from female filmmakers. We've known for a while that a Supergirl solo pick is coming, for instance, and We Got This Covered can now reveal that Warner Brothers is searching for a female director to helm it. Our source is telling us that though they don't know any names, the studio might be considering they're exclusively looking for women to make their Supergirl movie. Whoever the director turns out to be will be the third female to helm a DCEU film, following Patty Jenkins' work on the Wonder Woman franchise, Kathy Yan on Birds of Prey. Warner Bros. Previously showed their commitment to pairing female characters with female filmmakers as well when Joss Whedon vacated Batgirl in favor of a female director. What's more, we're hearing that, We Got This Covered can report that Supergirl will be an origin story. We've been told that Kara Zor-El's backstory will be similar to the comics as well. Classically, the Girl of Steel is sent to Earth to protect her cousin, Kal-El, after Krypton explodes, but she's caught in suspended animation until he's older and already Superman. TV viewers are already familiar with this from the CW Supergirl show, but from what little we know, the film will stick with tradition too. Although Supergirl will be part of the rebooted continuity of the DCEU alongside the Batman and won't follow the Man of Steel mythos. The big blue Boy Scout himself won't show up, but the movie will sow the seeds for a new actor to don the cape and tights in a sequel or even their own film. In any case, it's previously been reported that Kara's solo effort could start shooting early 2020, so we should learn more about what WB has planned soon. So, with that being said, first of all, I'm all for female filmmakers, and they're really doing this nowadays because it's just the thing. Like, you got a female superhero, female movie. They get, people get triggered when a male, gets involved, makes a movie, right? And we've seen strong female-led movies with male directors. My God, Ellen Ripley, Sarah Connor, come on. But it's 2019, and so nowadays you just got to do that. Female directors and stuff. Even the MCU got crapped for not having a female director for like Captain Marvel. In fact, that one was interesting, and I don't know why they didn't get crap more, because they had a male director and a female director. They're like, why does he need that guy? Why did they get on their thing? But anyway, so female director, as long as a great filmmaker, doesn't matter. As long as they get to tell the story they want to tell, doesn't matter. And but the thing about here is that it's being in an origin story, which is fine. It's a Supergirl story. We've seen it before. But I really hope that Superman's involved in it. Whether this be the other branching DCEU that's rumored by We Got This Covered, or Henry Cavill himself. Henry Cavill, he just started, he was cast as Sherlock Holmes in that new, what is that? I forgot the movie's called. Something Holmes, and I think it's because of his daughter. I think that's Sherlock Holmes' daughter story. And so he's cast with Millie Bobby Brown, which is interesting because finally, for a British actor, he can actually not hide his accent for once, right? Superman, even that spy movie, Man from U.N.C.L.E., a lot of different movies, Mission Impossible. He had to fake his American accent. And that was so weird, right? So now it's actually kind of refreshing that he gets to bust that out, the British accent, because he's now Sherlock Holmes. But aside from that, they could do it like that, Supergirl. So it's great. I think Superman should show up and kind of like be Supergirl's trainer, her mentor and it would be perfect to have a way for Henry Cavill to be totally there. And I hope it's not like the headless thing from Shazam, but if they can get something together, some type of contract or something, get him involved. But if this is according to their rumor, that this is like the Batman branching off into another separate universe, then I can totally see that being, well, they got Robert Pattinson as the Batman. Let's get somebody else as Superman for that universe. And maybe one day they'll be like Infinite Crisis or something like that. But Supergirl. I mean, I need some super. I need a little bit of the L's in our lives right now. I know there's been a lot of Superman movies, but I just need more. It's just me. I'm a big fan of Superman, and having him to see him more in movies will just go a long way for me. But Supergirl being part of it, I hope they involve a lot more things. I hope it's not very, it could be kind of like the show, the CW show, but I wanted it to be epic. I wanted it to be a big tentpole film. Involve, show Candor and Brainiac and all that stuff. Have Superman come in and help and stuff like that. And I know I'm going. This is my wish list of what happens in a Supergirl film. And even though the plot about it being the rumor on the plot and everything, that's all rumors, and the rebooted continuity, that's all rumors. But apparently it is. I guess it is starting shooting early in 2020, according to some other reports. So Supergirl is happening. We just don't really know for a fact how it's happening, and if it's part of the current DCEU. Is Superman going to show up? Is Superman Henry Cavill? All that stuff is still up in the air. Wouldn't it be nice to have had a gigantic, a convention to show everybody what your plans are? Oh, that's right. Warner Brothers skipped out on that. San Diego Comic-Con, they're not going to be there. Apparently, even Sony dropped out. So not many. Universal, I think, dropped out as well. And Lionsgate also is not going as well. So it's the Disney world, and we just live in it. Marvel is going to be there at San Diego Comic-Con. And so, that there, I guess for Marvel fans, that's something excited for. And someone brought up that, I know I'm going off topic here, but like Marvel is going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. They're also going to be at D23. It's going to be like Disney. And for people who love that, good for you. But I want to see other studios. They're feeling like they're just shying away or something. But they did say, Warner Brothers did say they're going to come back in 2020. And hopefully they come out strong. With possibly new plans, depending on what Ann Sarnoff, if she gets involved, if J.J. Abrams gets involved, things like that. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's still a mystery of where they're going to take this. And I just said that it shouldn't be totally connected and stuff. That's true. And it doesn't have to. They could have different storytells, but one little aspect that to kind of let you feel that it's the same world or same universe, and so that there'd be that one director that can come in and says, hey, I'm just going to take all these people and make a nice Justice League story later on. I still want that to happen at the same time. So really eager to see what they're going to do in 2020. Maybe not the panels, but the booth, the DC booth, which is going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, will convey a little bit more of a message of what they're going to do, and maybe show some teasers. Hopefully they release trailers online. We'll see what happens with that. But at least you'll get a lot of Snyder Cut fans over there doing the release of Snyder Cut, doing Project Comic-Con. So I guess a lot more attention will be onto that, and maybe, hopefully some trades or other publications, or even Conan O'Brien picks up on that story about Snyder Cut campaign being at San Diego Comic-Con. All right, guys. Well, that is it for tonight. I want to thank you all for listening in and watching my show. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I'll see you next time. Bye.